Hello again. Higher Education Minister Bladen Nzimande is set to outline plans for the reopening of tertiary institutions. The briefing will take place tomorrow. We find out now what the state of readiness for universities is. We speak to the CEO of Universities of South Africa, Professor Ahmed Bawa. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Just on the state of readiness, where does Unisa sit?
I'm not speaking on behalf of Unisa today. I'm speaking on behalf of all the universities, USAF, that is University South Africa. I think the universities are all sort of on track to complete the 2020 academic year. Nine of them have already completed the academic year, and the others are all on track to complete by the end of February. Of course, a lot of this now depends on, the challenges with regard to the trajectory of the pandemic and so on. But what we are seeing, I think, is preparedness of the universities to deal with outbreaks which have been sort of set up at all the universities. And perhaps most importantly, just the continuation of what we refer to as sort of multiple pathways to complete the academic year. So the completion of the 2020 academic year is very much on track. The big question now for us is really, when will the 2021 academic year begin? And that will depend largely on, just the progress that is being made with the marking of the 2020 National Senior Certificate exams and the accreditation of the process by Umalusi. If that is on track to be announced, for the results to be announced on the 23rd of February, then the universities will begin the 2021 academic year from about the 8th of March onwards until the first week of April. That will be staggered, as usually happens every year anyway. So that's the plan at the moment. Yes.
I beg your pardon, and thank you for that correction. But on the part of Unisa, we did see the Democratic Alliance coming out to say that they're challenging the decision for them to say that they will be admitting or taking in only 20,000 students for 2021, accusing them of a lack of proper administration. What do you know about this?
Yeah, look, the universities all have what are called kind of enrollment plans, which are kind of designed in partnership with the Department of Higher Education and Training. The enrollment plans play two major roles. Three major roles. The one is to try and ensure that the number of students that the universities take in is catered for by the capacity at the universities, infrastructure, human capacity, and so on. Laboratories, equipment, and so on. The second side of that is the second issue is really about the financing of higher education, and that really, is fundamental to allowing the department and Treasury to work out how to fund, the subsidy system and how to fund the National Students Financial Aid Scheme in terms of the DHET bursaries and so on. So that's the second element. And the third element, of course, is to do with the labor market. So some sort of link between the number of students that are taken in and the needs of the labor market. Now, as far as I understand, I think, from what I can gather, Unisa has been running slightly ahead of its enrollment plan. So my understanding, at least, is that the call from the minister to reduce the number of students by 20,000, intake by 20,000, is a reflection of that kind of lack of synchronization, if you like.
Just on the financing part, in terms of institutions of higher learning, just how much of a knock did they take? No doubt they were not exempt from COVID-19.
Yeah. All 26 universities took a severe knock last year. I mean, there's no question about it. And there were three major kind of elements that contributed to that knock. The first one clearly is the issue around the investment in infrastructure for this kind of remote learning and so on. The second was the preparation of the campuses for all the interventions to deal with COVID-19. And the third was just the defaults on payments by students and families, if you like, on fee payments and so on. And so those three elements really contributed significantly to the crisis. But there was also a cut in state subsidy for 2020-2021. In fact, we are now deeply worried about the future sustainability, just the whole issue around what the subsidy system will look like as we head into 2021-2022. We don't yet have a clear indication of what the subsidy system will look like as we head into the future. So there are deep concerns about the long-term sustainability. I should also just mention that there have been deep cuts in terms of research funding, both from the government and from outside of the government, from the private sector and from international funders. So that's a continuing concern as well. I think the universities are all really grappling with their sustainability issues at the moment.
Just in terms of the cuts in research funding, I mean, what are the consequences? Can we really afford that, especially at the time that we are living it? Should we not be capacitating ourselves so that we do more research about things like COVID-19, the origins, how we can actually create our own vaccines?
Yeah, you are absolutely right about that, And we made that argument, to the department, to the minister and so on, that this is a time to invest in research and research capacity building and so on. And also in terms of the economy, it's also about saying, when the economy is in crisis, that is the time to really to invest in research and innovation, to try and make sure that our companies continue to be globally competitive and so on. So you raise exactly the right point, and one hopes that as we head into the future, into the next 3 or 4 months, and as the budgets for 2021, 2022, and onwards, as those budgets become clear, that we will see an investment. Many other countries in the world have taken exactly the approach that you are saying, which is to say that this is the time to invest in research. And we hope that our government sees that as well.
Absolutely. I'm sure we can find other places to shave off. Thank you very much for your time. University South Africa CEO, Professor Ahmed Bawa.